Good day, everyone. In this video, I will discuss and explain the midterm examination in BS Ed Math 10 in linear algebra. So first, I'm gonna read the questions and then choose the correct answer and then explain why that is the answer. So, um, this discussion covers important topics in linear algebra, such as the matrices, determinants, inverses, systems of linear equations, matrix operations, and then row reduction. So, without further ado, let us begin with the item number 1. So, here is our item number 1. So, the question is to find the determinant of 1, 2, 3, 4. So this means the matrix is 1, 2, 3, 4. So the correct answer of that is letter A, which is -2. So here is the answer. Now let us explain why the answer is -2. To find the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix, we use the formula AD minus BC. So in this case, A is number 1 is letter A, number 2 is letter B, 3 is letter C, and then D is number 4. So we compute 1 times 4 minus 2 times 3. So that would give us 4 minus 6 is equal to -2. So our answer is -2. So so the determinant is -2. So to move on, question number 2. The question is, if A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, does A inverse exist? All right. So the correct answer is letter A, which is yes. Now let us explain why. A matrix has an inverse if and only if its determinant is not equal to 0. So the determinant of this, as like number 1, the determinant is -2. So it has a inverse since the determinant is not equal to 0. So number 3, the question is solve for 2x plus y is equal to 5 and x minus y is equal to 1. So the correct answer of this is letter B, which is 2, 2, 1. Now let us solve it clearly. We are given two equations with which is 2x plus y is equal to 5 and x minus y is equal to 1. So let us first solve the second equation first. So our second equation is x minus y. So we solve for y. So that is y minus is equal to x minus y, 1. And now we substitute that into the first equation, which is the 2x plus x minus 1 substitution is equal to 5. So that uh, then simplify 3x minus 1 is equal to 5, 3x minus 6, 3x is equal to 6, and x is equal to 2. So now our x is equal to 2. So now let's substitute that to the first equation. So let's change this into 2. By the way, we are using substitution method, which is really easier. So that is we substitute the 2, and that would give us the um would lead us into y, which is equal to 1. So that's why our answer is 2 comma 1. And then number 4, it says here, solve x plus y is equal to 2, x minus y is equal to 0. Again, we're using substitution in this case, which I think the easier and the best thing that we can do. So the correct answer again is letter B, which is 1, 1. So by the substitution method, we can this equation is justifiable. So let us proceed to number 5. So the question in number 5 is two matrices can be added only if. So the correct answer is letter C. So letter C. So our letter C, they have the same dimension. So now let us explain that. In matrix addition, we can only add entries that are in the same position. That means both matrices have the same number of rows and then the same number of columns. So for example, a 2 by 2 matrix can be added to another 2 by 2 matrix, but a 2 by 2 matrix can't be added by 3 by 2 matrix. So the condition of for matrix addition is that they must have the same dimension. So that is why the correct answer is letter C. So let's move on to our number 6. The question is, if AB is defined, which must be true. So the correct answer is letter B, letter B, which is columns of A is equal to rows of B. So now let us explain that. For matrix multiplication to be possible, the number of columns of the first matrix can be equal to the number of rows in the second matrix. So I hope that is clear. So in our number 7, the question is, if A is 3 by 2 and B is 2 by 4, what is the dimensions of AB? So, when we multiply 3 by 2 and 2 by 4 matrix, the inside numbers must match, and they do because both are 2. Then the answer will take the outside dimensions, which are 3 and 4. So, AB is equal to 3 by 4. Therefore, um, the correct answer is letter A, which is 3 by 4. So number 8, it says here, which property is not true for matrix multiplication. So the correct answer should be letter C, commutative. Because in ordinary arithmetic, we know that 2 times 2 is equal to 3 times 2. So multiplication of real numbers is commutative. But in matrices, that is not always true. In fact, in most cases, AB is not equal to BA. That means matrix multiplication is not commutative. However, matrix multiplication is associative, distributive, and compatible with scalar multiplication. So the property that is not generally true is commutative. That is why the correct answer is letter C. So number 9, if A is identity, then AX is equal to X. So in number 9, the correct answer is letter C, which is X unchanged. Now let us explain. The identity matrix works like the number 1 in regular multiplications. If I is the identity matrix, then Ix is equal to X. That means when we multiply any matrix or vector by the identity matrix, it stays exactly the same. So X is the unchanged. That is why the correct answer is letter C. So in number 10, we have here our question in our number 10. If matrix multiplication is not commutative, what implication arises? So the correct answer is letter A, which is order matters. Because matrix multiplication is generally not commutative. That means AB is not equal to BA. So if we change the order of multiplication, the answer can also change. This means we must be very careful when multiplying matrices because order matters. So the correct answer is letter A. Number 10, a zero determinant implies what? The zero determinants implies that it is singular matrix. Yes, it is a singular matrix. Because a matrix is called singular if its determinant is equal to 0. So if the determinant is equal to 0, then that is a singular matrix. So number 12, swapping two rows changes determinant. The answer of that is um, the sign changes. So if the sign of the determinant was positive, it will become negative. And if the sign was negative, then it will become positive. Because one of the important property of determinant is this: if we interchange or swap two rows, the determinant changes its sign. So yeah, that is the explanation. So the question number 13, determinant of triangular matrix is equal to letter B, product of diagonal. Because for any triangular matrix or lower triangular matrix, the determinant is found by multiplying all the diagonal entries. So the determinant of a triangle matrix is the product of its diagonal elements. Therefore, the correct answer is letter B. So let's move on to number what? Number 14. If determinant is 0, system is, the answer is inconsistent or infinite. Because that is letter B, by the way. So if the determinant of the coefficient matrix is 0, then the matrix is singular. That means the system does not have a unique solution. So when when it has no unique solution, so it is either no solution or infinitely many solutions. So if determinant is 0, we cannot expect exactly one answer. So that is why the best answer is letter B, which is inconsistent or infinite. So number 15. A system with solution is what? Letter a system with Number 15 is a system with no solution is, that is called inconsistent. So that would be letter B. Because a system is called inconsistent if there is no value of variables that satisfies all equations at the same time. So that is very opposite to our um same to our number 14, right? If you can notice the questions, just the answer is just the same. So number 16, unique solution occurs when what? When letter letter B. Determinant is not equal to 0. So um as as what I said earlier, if the determinant is 0, then it is um, inconsistent or many solutions. So when the determinant is not equal to 0, that means it has a unique solution. There is only one solution to that linear equation. So, oh, number 8, number 18, pivot is the correct answer is letter A. First non-zero entry in row. So in row reduction, commonly in Gauss-Jordan elimination method, a pivot is the first non-zero number in a row. It is called a leading entry. So that's why the answer is letter A. So let's move on to our question number 19. Which matrix is always invertible? So the answer is letter C, identity matrix. Because the identity matrix is always invertible because its inverse is simply itself. So also the determinant of the identity matrix is always 1, and since 1 is not 0, the identity matrix is always invertible. So the answer is letter C. So let's move on to we have number 20. A teacher represents a system of equations whose augmented matrix reduces to a row of the form 0, 0, 0, and 5. What should student conclude? So the correct answer is letter C, system is inconsistent. Why? Why it is inconsistent? Since we end up with a false statement, um, the row was 0, 0, 0, 5, means 0, the x is 0, y is 0, z is 0, and that would be equal to 5. But 0 is not equal to 5. So that is false. 0 cannot be equal to 5. That is the false statement. So it means the system has no solution. And when a system has no solution, we can call it inconsistent. So the answer would be letter C. Now, let us continue with the items 21 to 40. In the part of the exam, we will encounter questions about invertibility, matrix properties, Gaussian elimination, Gauss-Jordan elimination, determinants, and matrix operations. So let us now proceed to number 21. So number 21, a student claims that if two matrices have the same determinant, they must be equal. How should the teacher respond? So the correct answer is letter B, which says incorrect. Determinant does not uniquely identify a matrix. Because a determinant is only one number associated with a matrix. It tells us some important information such as whether the matrix is invertible or singular. But it does not tell us the entire matrix. So that's why the answer is letter B. Number 22, a teacher a teacher asks students to compare solving a system using inverse versus Gauss-Jordan, which is most valid conclusion. So the answer is letter B. Gauss-Jordan avoids determinant computation. So when we use an inverse, we often need to compute the determinants. And that can be longer, especially for larger matrices. On the other hand, Gauss-Jordan elimination uses row operations directly to solve the system. So one important advantage of Gauss-Jordan is that it can solve the system without explicitly computing the determinant. That's why our answer is letter B. Now let's proceed to number here 23. Um, a student reduces a matrix to echelon form but stops before identity. What method was used? So again, it is the method that was used is Gauss-Jordan. So um, that is letter D, Gaussian elimination, because this method continues further until the matrix reaches to reduce row echelon form, often the identity matrix on the left side. So now let's move on to number 24. Which situation guarantees a matrix has no inverse? So our answer is for number 24 is letter D, all of the above. Because any of those conditions means the matrix is not invertible. So since all the choices listed are valid reasons such as non-square, determinant is equal to 0, rank is greater than n, all of them are valid reasons why a matrix has no inverse. So the correct answer is all of the above. So for number 25, a matrix is both diagonal and symmetric. What additional property must it have? So the number 25, our answer is letter C, diagonal entries only, because a diagonal matrix means that all entries outside the main diagonal are zero. So a symmetric matrix means A is equal to A transpose A. Now the good thing is that every diagonal matrix is already symmetric because the entries above and below the diagonal are all zero. So if a matrix is diagonal and symmetric, it must simply have entries only on the diagonal and zeros elsewhere. That's why our answer is letter C. So let's proceed to number 26. So let's read the questions. Um, I'll zoom it. I'll just zoom it for you guys so that you can see it clearly. So number 26. A system's augmented matrix has a pivot in every column except the last. What does this imply? So um, so the answer would be letter A, unique solution. Now, I'll explain to you that in augmented matrix, the last column is the constant column. If every variable column has a pivot, that means every variable is leading variable. There are no free variables. And if there are no free variables, the system has exactly one unique solution. So the correct answer of that is letter A. Now let's proceed to number 27. So our number 27, a student computes determinant A transpose. What is the correct relation? So the answer is letter B, which is the determinant A transpose is equal to determinant A. Because one of the important property of determinants that the determinant of a matrix and the determinant of its transpose are always equal. So that's why um our answer is letter B. So because it does not change. So let's proceed to number 28. So a teacher wants students to identify computational efficiency. Which methods least efficient for large large systems? So the answer of that is Kramer's rule. So why? Kramer's rule is useful, but mostly for small systems, especially 2 by 2 and um 3 by 3, but it's not really that efficient when it comes to larger systems. Next is number 29. A teacher asks, why is determinant important in solving systems? So our answer for that is letter B. It determines invertibility. So um for the explanation, the determinant is important because it tells us whether the coefficient matrix is invertible or not. So the matrix is invertible and the system has a unique solution. Then the matrix is singular. When we say determinant is not equal to zero, the matrix is invertible and has a unique solution. So when we say unique solution, we can proceed with solving. But if the determinant is equal to zero, then it is singular and it does not have a unique solution. So to make it easier, the determinant help us determine invertibility, which is why the correct answer is letter B. So to proceed in our number 30, um, sorry, I cannot make it more upper, so just bear with me. So number 30 is a system has three variables but only two pivot positions. What does this indicate? So the correct answer of that is letter B, infinite solution. So now let us explain. If there are three variables but only two pivots, that means one variable is free. And whenever there is at least one free variable, the system has infinitely many solutions as long as it is consistent. So the presence of only two pivot positions of three variables means there is a free variable and therefore the system has infinitely many solutions. That is why the correct answer of number 30 is letter B. Again, letter B is infinite solutions. Um, sorry, sorry for that. I'll present it again. Okay, so next is number 31. So I'll zoom it for a while so that you can clearly see the questions. All right. I hope that is more clearer. I mean clearer. Yeah. So number 31. Um the question goes, let A and B be non-zero matrices, such as AB is equal to 0, which statement is necessarily true. So the answer is letter D. At least one has no inverse. This is an import to explain, as you can see in the questions, this is an important concept in linear algebra. In both A and B were invertible, then from AB is equal to 0. We could multiply both sides by inverses and eventually conclude that one of them must be 0. But the problem says both matrices are non-zero. So that means it is possible for both to be invertible. Therefore, at least one of them must be non-invertible, or in other words, at least one has no inverse. That's why the correct answer is letter D. At least one has no inverse. All right. So let's now proceed to number 32. Here is our number 32. Wait. All right. So I hope that is clearer. So let's discuss number 32. So in number 32, suppose A multiplied by the quantity of B plus C is equal to AB plus AC. But the quantity of A plus B times C is not equal to AC plus BC. In a student's work, what is the most likely error? So the correct answer is letter B, dimension mismatch. Now, I'll explain you that concept. In matrix algebra, the distributive property is true that A times the quantity of B plus C is equal to AB plus C, and also A plus the quantity of A plus B times C is equal to AC plus BC. So if a student got a result where the second distributive property does not work, the most likely problem is that the matrices are not conformable for the operations. That means the dimensions of the matrices do not match properly for multiplication or or addition. So the most likely error is the dimension mismatch. That is why the correct answer is letter B. So now let's proceed to number 33. If AB is equal to I but B is not equal to I, what can be concluded? So our number 33, the answer of that is letter C, which is B is inverse of A only on one side. So if AB is equal to I, that means B acts as an inverse of A, the right side. But if BA is not equal to I, that is inverse, then B is not a full inverse in the two-sided sense. So we can only say that B is an inverse of A on one side only. That is why the correct answer is letter C. So to proceed, we have now the number 34. Which expression is always symmetric regardless of matrix A? So the answer is letter D. That is both B and C. Because two important expressions that are always symmetric are A plus A transpose and transpose. Why are they symmetric? So that's the questions. Because for the first one, the quantity of A plus A the transpose of A plus A transpose is equal to A transpose plus A is equal to A plus A transpose. And for the second one, A times A. The transpose of A transpose is equal to A transpose transpose. A transpose is equal to A transpose. Since both expressions are always equal to their transpose, both are always symmetric. That's why the correct answer is the letter D, which is both B and C. So let's now proceed to number 35. So our question goes, if A is invertible, which statement must hold? So number 35, our answer is letter B, which is AA, the inverse of AA is equal to A inverse A is equal to I. Because this is actually the definition of inverse matrix. If a matrix A is invertible, then there exists a matrix A inverse such that AA inverse is equal to I, and also I don't know how to read that actually. Negative. Yeah, A is equal to I. This means that multiplying a matrix but its inverse gives the identity matrix. So the answer is letter B. So now let's proceed to our number 36. Given A is equal to 2 and negative um, um, 2, negative 1, 3, 4, and oh, I'm so sorry. It's 2, negative 2, and negative 1, 3, 4, and our B is 15 and negative 20. Find 2A to is equal to B. So our answer for that is um letter A. So let's go now to 37. Yeah, 37. So our 37 given 12 and negative 34 and B is 0, 0 and negative 152, and our AB would be what? Our AB would be letter A. No, no, no. I meant our AB must be, yeah, letter A again, which is the um which is which is 3 3 3 1 9. So that is our answer. And 39, let A is equal to 20 and negative 13, and B 2 0 negative 1 3, and B is 4 1 2 and negative 2. Find A transpose plus B. Number 39, our answer for this is um letter A again, which is um 6 0 2 1. Um 6 0 6 0 to 1, because um let's find first the transpose of A, which is 2 negative 1 0 and 3, and then add it in matrix B. So the answer would be um 6 0 to 1. So um number 40, let A is equal to 2 1 0 negative 1 and B is equal to 3 4 2 1. Find AB minus BE. So our answer for this is letter our answer for this is um letter letter A. Yes. So number 41. Let's proceed to number 41. So this number 41 to below will meet again solving systems of equations, Gauss-Jordan elimination, inverse method, Chemistry rule, determinants, trace, transpose, and properties of matrices. So let's solve number 41. Solve x plus 2y is equal to 43x plus 6y is x plus 2y is equal to 4, 3x plus 6y is equal to 12. So number 41, our answer is C, infinitely many solutions. Because if we are so so if we look carefully with the equations, the first is x plus 2y is equal to 4 and 3x plus 6y is equal to 12. Notice that the second equation is just 3 times the first equation. So which means that the two equations actually represent the same line. So instead of having just one solution, the system has infinitely many solutions. That is why the correct answer is letter C, which is infinitely many solutions. So let's go now to number 43. That is number 43. Using matrices, solve x plus y plus z is equal to 6, 2x plus y plus z is equal to 7, and x plus 2y plus z is equal to 7. So, The correct answer of that is letter C, which is 1, 1, and 4. If you are going to use matrices such as Gauss-Jordan elimination, you will arrive in the answer, which is the x is equal to 1, the y is equal to 1, and z is equal to 4. Now let's go to number 44. We have if a system reduces if a system reduces to the identity matrix with constant 3, -2, and 5, what is the solution? So the correct answer of that is letter A, which is 3, -2, and 5. So number 45. Let's proceed to number 45. After Gauss-Jordan, the matrix becomes one. Um, the first row is 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and then 2, -1, and 0, and then our x is 4, our y is 3, and our z is 0. So the answer of that is letter B, infinite solutions. So this means that let us just observe what is happening here in our matrix. So are you done looking with our matrix? The third row is 0 is equal to 0. That means the third row doesn't give any new informations. Also, there are three variables, but only two pivot rows, as you can see. That means one variable is free. And whenever a system has a free variable and still consistent, it has infinitely many solutions. So the correct answer is letter B. So to proceed with our number 46, a system reduces to our first row is 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and 0, 0, 1, and our x is 2, y is 1, and our z is 7. So the conclusion is letter A, unique solution. 46 is unique. So the matrix means x is equal to 2, y is equal to 1, and z is equal to 7. And each variable has a pivot, and there are no contradictions and no free variables. That means that there is only exact one solution. So that is unique. That is why our answer is letter A. So number 47, we have which operation is not allowed in Gauss-Jordan. So the answer is letter letter D, multiply column. Because in Gauss-Jordan elimination, we are only allowed to use elementary row operations. What are the elementary row operations? These are the swap two rows, multiply a row by a non-zero scalar, add a multiple of one row to another. So, but a column operations are not part of the standard Gauss-Jordan method for solving systems. So that's why multiplying column is not allowed. So therefore, the answer of 47 is letter D. So we are now in number 48. If pivot column has all zeros except pivot, what does it imply? The correct answer is letter B, leading variable, because a pivot indicates a leading entry and the variable corresponding to that pivot is called a leading variable to a basic variable. So if a column contains a pivot and zeros elsewhere, this column corresponds to a leading variable. That is why the correct answer is letter B. So let's proceed to number 49. The question goes, a system reduces to identity matrix. This means the correct answer is letter C, unique solution. Because again and again, in Gauss-Jordan elimination, if we arrived in identity matrix, that means it has only one solution or unique solution. So I hope that you have understood that. And our number 50, question number 50, let's proceed. If one row becomes all zeros, it indicates letter B, redundancy. That means that row does not add any new information. It is simply a redundant equation, meaning one equation was dependent on the others. So a zero row often indicates redundancy. That is where the correct answer is letter B, redundancy. So now, since we are done in number 50, let's now proceed to number 51. So number 51, the question goes, which form is required in Gauss Jordan? So the correct answer here, the correct answer, these are, by the way, these are the choices of number 51 here. So the answer of that is letter C, reduced row echelon form. Because in Gauss-Jordan elimination goes beyond ordinary Gaussian elimination. Its goal is to reduce the matrix into reduced row echelon form, or also called PREF. So that's why our answer is letter C. So in number 52, the question is, a pivot in every column of coefficient matrix implies. The answer is letter B, unique solutions. If every if every variable column has a pivot, then every variable is a leading variable. That means there are no free variables, no ambiguity, and exactly one solution. So if the coefficient matrix has a pivot in every column, the system has a unique solution. So our answer is letter B. So now let's proceed to number 53. The inverse method is applicable only when. The answer of that is letter B. The determinant is not equal to zero because if it is if the determinant is equal to zero, then it is invertible. But if the determinant is not equal, um, yeah, it is invertible. That's why we are now allowed to use the inverse method. So number 54, solve using inverse. X plus y is equal to 52. X plus y is equal to 7. So our 54, the answer is 2 and 3. Yeah, because if we solve this using the inverse, getting the determinant and then transpose it and multiplied it, we can attain the answer 2, comma 3. The ordered pairs 2 and 3. So number 55, let's go on to number 55. If AX is equal to B, then the solution is letter B. X is equal to A inverse B. So, I mean, like, X is equal to the determinant times, oh, yeah, B. So, if A is invertible, we multiply both sides on the left by A inverse. So, yeah, if we're just going to compute that, we can attain not the answer B. So number 56, if the determinant A is equal to 0, inverse method, the answer is letter B, gives infinite solutions, or even cannot be, just give infinite solutions, because this means that um the determinant is not invertible, means if determinant is equal to 0, then it must be no solutions or infinite solutions. So let's go now to number 57, which is true about inverse method. Um, the answer would be letter C, works for all, works, um, no, the answer is letter D. It requires determinant is not equal to 0. So in order for us um, to continue in solving the inverse method, we must get a determinant, and the determinant must not be equal to 0. So number 58, if A inverse exists, then the answer of number 58 is letter B, a non-singular, because if it's not equal to 0, then it is a non-singular. So in number 59, if a system has no inverse, it has likely, the answer is letter D, infinite or no solution. So it is redundancy, no, that if over and over again I say that it has no inverse, then um that we cannot proceed into inverse if the determinant is equal to 0. So if it's equal to 0, then it is understandable that it is infinite or no solution at all. So I hope you understand that. So in number 60, the question is Kramer's rule applies when letter B, the determinant is not equal to 0. So as you can see, Kramer's rule and inverse method are usually alike. You cannot proceed or you cannot apply these two rules if the determinant um, is is equal to 0, but you can apply it if the determinant is not equal to 0. So number 61, oh, we're almost done. So in number 61, um, Kramer's rule uses determinants again because we cannot proceed without the determinants. That is very important. Next is which is disadvantage of Kramer's rule? So the answer of number 62 is letter B. Computationally heavy for large systems. So unlike Gauss-Jordan elimination, um, Kramer's rule is not really that efficient when it comes to large systems. So number 63, um, the equation is, the question is, if all determinants in Kramer's are 0, then it has letter C infinite Kernel solutions because again, it is the same with the inverse. As I said, if you will get the determinant 0, then it is infinite Erno solutions. It is that is I think a property. So in number 64, Kramer's rule is best suited for letter. The answer is letter B, small systems, because unlike Gauss-Jordans can do heavy or larger systems, but Kramer's rule is suited for just small systems, like two variables, three variables, like that. So in number 65, um, which determinant is replaced in solving for x? So the correct answer is letter A, first column. In Cramer's rule, to solve for a variable, we replace the column corresponding to that variable with a constant column. Since x is the first variable, we replace the first column. So the correct answer is letter A. So in number 66, if in Kramer's rule, the determinant of the coefficient matrix is non-zero, but the determinant corresponding to one variable is 0, what can be concluded about the variable? So the correct answer is letter C. The value of the variable is 0. So we are now in number 67. We're almost done. Yeah, we're almost done. So number 67, the question is, evaluate 2, 3, 4, and 5. The correct answer is letter A, negative 2, because if we're going to get the determinant of this is 2 times 3 minus 4 times 5. The answer is negative 2. So let's proceed to number 68. Um, again, we are tasked to do to evaluate. The first row is 1, negative 1, 2, and then 0, 3, 1, and then 2, 1, 0. So if we're going to solve this, we can attain um but negative 7. So again in 69 we have this question. If A, B, C, D is equal to 6, find 2A, 2B, and CD. So the our answer would be letter B, 12, because this type of problem is about determinant properties. If one row or one column of determinant is multiplied by 2, then determinant is also multiplied by 2. Since the original determinant is 6, then the new determinant becomes 12. So the correct answer is letter B. So we are now um in number 70. So if a row of determinant is multiplied by 3, the determinant becomes, the answer is triple. It's a common sense, no, that if one row is multiplied by a scalar k, then the determinant is also multiplied by k. So if a row is multiplied by 3, then the determinant is also multiplied by 3. This means that the determinant becomes triple. So number 71, if two rows are interchanged, determinant becomes negative. So these questions are um, may balik na yun yung questions, no? That if we interchange two rows, then the number of the determinant, if it is 12, if it was 12, then it become negative 12. So that is the example. So number 72 rather, if two rows are identical, if two rows are identical, the determinant is letter C, 0. Um, because if the rows of a matrix are exactly the same, then the rows are linearly dependent. And one important determinant property says if two rows are identical, it is actually a property that if two rows are identical, then the determinant is 0. So that's why the answer is letter C. So we are now in item 73. Which condition guarantees that the determinant is equal to 0? So the answer for 73 is letter B, two proportional rows. If one row is multiple of another row, then the rows are proportional. That means the rows are not independent. And whenever a matrix has two proportional rows, its determinant is automatically 0. So the correct answer is letter B. So we are now in number 74. If determinant A is equal to negative 2, find the determinant A transpose. So 74, the answer is letter B, negative 2. It's just negative 2 because this is also an important property that it stays the same. Yeah. So now let's proceed to number 75. If determinant A is equal to 4 and determinant B is equal to 3, find determinant AB. So let's just the answer of this is 12. Let's just simply multiply it. 4 times 3 is just 12. So the new determinant is 12. So we are now in number 76. Just bear with me, guys. We are almost done. So 76 questions. Which matrix always has a determinant 1? So the answer is letter B, identity. So the identity matrix always has determinant equal to 1. That's given. So number 77, um, which operation does not change the determinant? The answer is letter C. Add multiple of one row to another. Um, that is one among the elementary row operations as we can see in Gauss-Jordan elimination, right? So now let's proceed to number 78. If a matrix has a zero row, determinant is letter C, 0. Because if a matrix contains a row where every entry is 0, then the determinant is automatically 0. That's why the answer is letter C. So let's proceed to item number 79. If determinant A is not equal to 0, system AX is equal to B has, again, the answer of this is unique solution because it's not equal to 0. So last, um, down to 80, number 80. If A is 3 by 3 and each row is multiplied by 2, the determinant becomes letter D. And our letter D is 8 determinant A. Because if one row is multiplied by 2, the determinant is multiplied by 2. So if all three rows are multiplied by 2, then the determinant is multiplied by, so that is 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 2 to the power of 3, that is positive 8. So the new determinant is 8. Therefore, the correct answer is letter D. So down to number 81. Which matrix has determinant equal to the product of diagonal elements? So the correct answer is letter B, triangular. For any triangular matrix, whether upper triangular or lower triangular, the determinant is equal to the product of its diagonal entries. So if the matrix is triangular, we can find the determinant very easily by multiplying the diagonal values. So that's why the answer is letter B. So let's proceed to number 82. If determinant AB is equal to 0, then letter C, the answer is at least one is singular. So I think I did explain that to you because these questions kinibalik naman. So, number 83. If two columns are equal, the determinant is letter C, 0 again. Because just like identical rows make the determinant 0, identical columns also make the determinant 0. This is because the columns become linearly dependent. So if two columns are equal, the determinant must be 0. So the answer is letter C. So number 84. So let A and B be 3 by 3 matrices such as TRA is equal to 5 and TRB is equal to 2 and TRAB is equal to 4. Which of the following is always true? The answer is letter B. TRAB is equal to TRBA. One, because this is one important of property of trace of matrices is TRAB is equal to TRBA. This is also always true whenever the matrix products are defined. So even if we are not given all interests of the matrices, we can still say with certainty that TRAB is equal to TRBA. So that's why the answer is letter B. Now, down to the last number. Praise God. So, the last question is let A and B be invertible matrices of the same order such that transpose AB is equal to A transpose B transpose. Which of the following must be true? So the answer is letter A. AB is equal to BA because we know the general transpose rule for matrix multiplication is transpose AB is equal to B transpose A transpose. So that's why our answer is um, letter A. So, and that concludes my discussion in this given examination for our midterm in linear algebra. So the discussion we reviewed based on the exam paper, it covers the topic of matrix operations, the determinants, inverse matrices, systems of linear equations, Gauss-Jordan elimination, Cramer's rule, transpose, and trace. So through this exam, we can see that linear algebra is not only about computation, but also about understanding the relationship between matrices and how they help us solve systems efficiently and logically. I hope this discussion helped you a lot when it comes to the topic of multiple topics in linear algebra. So thank you for listening, guys, and God bless.